Hello everybody and welcome to another Dwarf Fortress video. This is some DFHack news. So if you're not using DFHack and you're interested in using DFHack, you can find it on Steam or alternatively via one of the links in the description on their GitHub. DFHack is an external piece of software that runs alongside of Dwarf Fortress, which allows you to manipulate the game in real time, sort of like the way Cheat Engine works. However, it's designed specifically to run with Dwarf Fortress and give you a lot of quality of life improvements, as well as a lot of improvements that I deem completely unnecessary for the average user, unless you're modding the game or a power user. So if you're curious about some of the features of DFHack and you would like to try it out, check it out on Steam, and I'm going to talk about some new quality of life features that they have just added, which in my opinion are actually game-changing. If you missed the last update I did on DFHack, they added a bunch of search functionality, which makes using a lot of the UI a lot more doable, which provides features such as being able to search through any of your dwarves in the creatures screen, search for dwarves in the military screen, and stuff of that sort. However, this update was focused on digging quality of life as well as Burrows quality of life. So let's show what they've added here. The first thing of note is when you're mining, they've now added a dimension indicator. So when you go to dig, you can actually see the number of tiles that you are digging. So as you can see here, I've got kind of little layouts set up. And then when I go to click and drag, it actually tells me the size of the indicator, making things a lot easier. Personally, for me, this isn't something I deem entirely necessary because I don't care about my forts being perfectly symmetrical. But if that is something that is extremely important to you, this tool is fantastic. The next thing that they added, which I also think is very, very good, and absolutely something I will be using until it gets put into the game natively in the future, is going to be mechanisms linking. You can now select what mechanisms you are linking when linking a lever, which is huge, because for some reason in version 50, ever since the Steam release, we've been unable to select the specific mechanism types. Why is this important, you might ask? Well, perhaps you are connecting it to something that is going to be covered in lava. Well, you don't want to use a material that isn't lava safe, so you don't want your gears to suddenly vanish and thus break everything. Or maybe it's a drawbridge that lava's going to run over when you burn all of your enemies. Or it's a floodgate that lava's going to run over. Or you just like things to be color coordinated. Regardless, this is an important tool in Dwarf Fortress, and I'm very, very happy to see DFHack bring it back to the game. Now things get a little fiddly. We have flood filling, area filling, and multi-layer burrow construction. So when you go to place a burrow now, if you double click on an open room, the burrow will automatically fill up the area. Following that, when you go to select multiple Z levels with the burrow, it will also fill up the area correctly as you would imagine it, instead of the way it works in version 50 right now, where you can only do one Z level at a time. Although I would like to point out the one Z level at a time thing in Fortress mode is an unintended side effect of something to do with rendering and will get fixed natively eventually, but as a temporary stand-in, this is an awesome change. It's also worth noting that when you are designating burrows, you can also double-click with the erase tool to erase individual rooms. So if you've flood filled the wrong area and you're like, wait, no, I don't need that, you can double-click it with the erase tool and they will go away. When you hit Shift double-click, it'll fill up multiple Z levels. So if you, for example, would like to do all of above ground, or an entire cavern, or a multi-Z level fortress that has open spaces, simply holding Shift and double-clicking will flood fill the entirety of that space, making designating whole fortresses a lot quicker and smoother. And the last and possibly most exciting change is that when you designate a new burrow, if you put a plus at the end of the name, all of the dwarves assigned to that burrow will automatically expand the burrow when mining. So if you say burrow 1 plus, then you assign all of your miners to it and tell them to dig in an area, that area will expand naturally over multiple Z levels as they are mining. This means that if you are trying to build in, let's just say, a haunted biome, you're not going to need to be constantly expanding the size of your burrow as the dwarves build the fortress. You're only going to need to put a plus on it and it'll automatically expand as your miners dig, regardless of if you have the burrow tool open or not. This is huge and absolutely game-changing. Possibly one of the most exciting features to come to this version of DFHack since, well, let's just say the search functionality, which was added in the last update. If you're using DFHack, let me know. I'm curious about what your favorite commands are. And if this is your first time seeing DFHack and you're confused, I really need to make some tutorials on how I have it set up. So I'll try and get to that this weekend. If you would like to support this channel and the work I do directly, you can check out my Twitch streams over at twitch.tv/BLINDIRL. I do also stream the Dwarf Fortress portion of those streams on this YouTube channel now. And it's also worth noting that if you like to support me in other ways, I have a merch store, which can be found in the description of this video, as well as a Patreon, and you're seeing my patrons on screen right now. I used to put YouTube members into these credits, and they currently still are, but since I've started streaming on YouTube and the number's been growing, I'm going to be moving that to just a Patreon perk at the end of this month. So if you are a new YouTube member, I will not be adding you to the credits. If you would like to join the credits, that's $2 a month on Patreon. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.